You know, life likes to throw you surprises. Sometimes they're just right around the corner.
Long day. Jesus Christ, what are you doing here?
Other times they come from an unlikely source.
Sorry, you're still a virgin.
And some surprises you'll just never, ever, ever see coming. And that's the beauty of surprises. They just happen. You're like, whoa, did not see that coming. So today we talk about PlayStation with the ultimate surprise with a backtrack of the century where they actually are keeping around some digital storefronts. This has been a major focal point for the last week on the channel. We believe in game preservation here. We love our classics. We're very nostalgic people. That's going to be a focus on the content in the future as well, ironically enough. But point being is that we talked about the PS3, Vita, and PSP storefronts that were going to get shut down. It led to a skyrocketing of prices on digital marketplaces when it came to buying the physical copies of games like eBay, Mercari. All of the prices were just flying up through the roof, and it seemed like there was no reason really for PlayStation to sunset these services. So when I saw this headline here, which is that PlayStation Store on PS3 and Vita will continue operations, I literally did a head take twice. I was like, what? No way they're actually doing this. It's so not PlayStation. I don't know how else to say it. Not that they are incapable of backtracking, but it's just very much not them once they put something in stone. And you look at some of Jim Ryan's comments in the past that you take a look at the PlayStation blog post and see they're not doing it anymore. So let's get to reading. Recently, we notified players that PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita was planned to end this summer. Upon further reflection, however, it's clear that we made the wrong decision here. So today, I'm happy to say that we will be keeping the PlayStation Store operational for PS3 and PS Vita devices. PSP Commerce functionality will retire on July 2nd, 2021 as planned. Oh, rest in peace, my old friend. Get ready. Start purchasing your physical copies. We'll talk about this in a little bit towards the end of the video, but get ready. They're going up. And Untold Legends, that's going to be a pricey one. I didn't expect them to give reasoning either, so that's another surprise within the surprise. When we initially came to the decision to end purchasing support for PS3 and PS Vita, it was born out of a number of factors, including commerce support challenges for older devices and the ability for us to focus more of our resources on newer devices where a majority of our gamers are playing on. We now see that many of you are incredibly passionate about being able to continue purchasing classic games on PS3 and PS Vita for the foreseeable future. We'll talk about that in a sec. So I'm glad we were able to find a solution to continue operations. I'm glad that we can keep this piece of our history alive for gamers to enjoy while we continue to create cutting-edge new game worlds for PS4, PS5, and the next generation of VR. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us. We're always listening and appreciate the support from our PlayStation community. Let it be stated now, this is why your thoughts, your feedback truly does matter, okay? Because that's 2 for 2 now. Both companies. You got Xbox, who had to do a little bit of backtracking with Xbox Live Gold when they were doing that stupid ass thing trying to increase the price. And here with PlayStation, where people were very vocal saying, hey, we really, really do like PlayStation 3 and Vita, and we want to keep these stores alive and celebrate these games because the physical prices are going to fly through the roof and then no one's going to be able to play them. So this was a great choice, of course, by PlayStation, but more importantly, it's a testament to feedback actually mattering. First and foremost, if you're going to take anything away from this video in general or the situation, please do know your voice matters. Being respectful, honest, upfront, and not consistently outraged 24/7 does a lot. More companies are willing to lend an ear when you're being understanding, saying, hey, here's how we feel, not like, you idiots, what the hell are you doing? They're not going to listen to you at that point. So we keep that in check. Companies will continue to listen for sure. Now, of course, this is great news, but I also want to discuss a little bit about the future of everything here because PlayStation clearly had some type of plan in place here, and they initially didn't see that it was worthwhile to keep these storefronts alive, and their reasoning was really that they wanted to devote more resources to the newer generation, which would be supported by Jim Ryan's statements of saying we want to transition to a next generation much quicker. So we're seeing that in play here, but now it's slowing things down a little bit, and we're taking a look at the PS3 and Vita storefronts where they're going to be hanging around a little bit longer, but for how long? I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but we need to talk about this type of stuff because they tried to do it here and now they're saying for the foreseeable future. So for how long will this type of service hang around before they say, okay, now we're actually going to shut down the Vita and the PS3 digital storefronts? Well, there were patents discovered last month about some type of PlayStation emulation for retro support. And as you can see here in the patent itself, you can see that it's going to emulate the game and allow for triggers for you to earn trophies in supposedly PS1, PS2, and PS3 games. And what I would expect is something along the lines of what Nintendo Online does, where they say, here's an SNES game, an NES game, and they continue to expand that library and you pay a monthly fee for it. Is it the Game Pass competitor that maybe PlayStation fans imagine in their heads? No, but I think it would be a pretty interesting service. What I don't like is this notion of paying for backwards compatibility, this idea of reselling to you something that you already own. It's one thing I, of course, have always said I really like about Xbox. Well, I know they do their own emulation, so even if you own, say, Morrowind, and you throw it in your Series X, it downloads it and it emulates the game. It's not just running straight off the console like it would as an original Xbox game. But still, nonetheless, I like that they have continued to support that backwards compatibility, and I don't have to pay for it to access it. And when you start to see FPS boosts get rolled in, you don't have to pay for that stuff. While PlayStation and Nintendo are setting up, it looks like, to charge for backwards compatibility. The way I view it is I think PlayStation will keep the storefronts around as long as there is no longer a retro service. So once that starts to get rolled in, you'll probably start to see them consider shutting things down, at least if the timing seems right and if the service is well received. That's where they may start rolling things back, because it seems like a resource thing, and they're saying the numbers suggest that people don't want to go ahead and use all of these, but sometimes that's an invisible number is what I like to call it. Yes, I'm sure they're not as high as your PlayStation 4 numbers and users and the activity on their digital storefronts, but people still hold on to their old consoles for when they're in the mood for something, they fire it up. So I'm crossing my fingers that we kind of get a best of both worlds, but I really do feel like as a business, what we're seeing across the industry, people like to charge you for your old things because they know nostalgia gets everyone. I'm nostalgic. I want to do more nostalgic content. I want to focus on older games. It's one of my favorite things. I love collecting and revisiting past titles. Who doesn't? And so when you look at something like this here, where they're maybe setting up a service and they're saying for the foreseeable future, it's just worth keeping in mind. For now, it's worthy of celebrating, and I commend PlayStation for, of course, listening, but I want to make sure people are aware of the puzzle pieces that are coming together over time. But what's great about all of this is, of course, pricing. Pricing immediately got ridiculous, and there were artificial spikes at that. If you panic bought a couple of games, which, by the way, I don't want to go ahead and act like you're wrong for it. Here's a stack of games I picked up recently at a local game shop. Jak and Daxter Collection, Twisted Metal, WWE Legends of WrestleMania, SOCOM 4, SOCOM Confrontation. So I picked up a number of games as well in response to this news. I bought a couple of Vita games like Assassin's Creed Liberation. I picked up Gundam Breaker for $60. I didn't overpay for any of these games, however. What happened, though, is you saw the likes of Ratchet and Clank skyrocket the prices like you're seeing on screen here. And as you notice, these are sold items on eBay. These are not just listed items. These are prices people paid for it. $80, $60, $120 for both Jak and Daxter as well as Ratchet and Clank. But Jak and Daxter right here, I paid $20 for this thing, and it came complete in box, everything you could really ask for. So it's not a $60 game, but what happened was these prices just flew right through the roof immediately because people felt the pressure. There was a squeeze, and everyone was trying to get their stuff early before the prices really went up. And so I was guilty of it on my Vita. I went and picked up Mega Man Legends 1 and 2. I picked up Breath of Fire 4. I bought all the Suikoden games because I was like, yo, if anything, the PS1 classics, those are going to be ridiculously hard to find physically, and even when you do find them, they're going to be super pricey. I would rather have those digitally on my Vita. So I spent about that total to $25 for all of that, $30 in that range. Nothing too bad, but for those of you who have overpaid, just, next time, settle it down, wait a little bit. Not that we could have seen this coming, right? No one expected PlayStation to backtrack this, but breathe a little bit. Don't buy into those astronomical prices next time. Just keep that stuff in mind. I'm sure the physical prices will continue to go up over time because there is a clock on them for sure. But for now, you can relax a little bit. This is also good news because one thing we talked about last week was that PS3 games were not receiving their updates, and some of them were PlayStation exclusive titles, and it also would have led to a weird moment in the gaming market where you'd have PS3 copies being less expensive than 360 copies because the 360 copies could still update and were technically definitive. So there is that whole mess there that can now maybe be cleaned up a little bit because now this is a focus. Hopefully they will continue to focus on other issues cropping up. We're going to have a more extensive discussion about this tomorrow, about the CMOS battery in PS4 and PS5, the always online nature, if you will, of the Series X, what's being walled off from the Switch. Because what's happening now is we're seeing a situation build up where people are caring more and more about game preservation, which brings my heart joy, man. I'm happy as all hell to see this, and it's good because people are being proactive, right? We're not waiting till something's happening. We're getting ahead of the ball here. So I think we're seeing a lot of that in our industry. There's a lot of care going around, and so this is overall just really good news to see. However, I do think PlayStation sort of has an ace up their sleeve here for backwards compatibility and the ability to charge you for it, because it's one thing to say, like with Xbox, let's take Republic Commando, which recently got brought to PS5 and PS4 as well as the Nintendo Switch. You pay for those ports, whereas Xbox, through its back compat and all of its upgrades, they haven't charged you anything, but you also don't get achievements. And I gotta be honest, I just got the Platinum Trophy for Republic Commando. There is that little carrot there that pulls me in and makes me want to go for it and play it specifically on PlayStation. It always has. It's why one of the big reasons I love my Vita. I love trophy hunting. So for them to tap into that a little bit and say, hey, Matty, Mega Man X command mission, you can get that platinum for that game now. I mean, dude, holy shit, I would lose my mind. So they're on to something here. We'll see if they actually go through with it. For now, it's just a patent, but I thought it was valuable information to put in this video because I think some people think it's very cut and dry. Like Sony's like, yep, we screwed up. Sorry about that. They're a business. They're going to operate as such. And we see across the industry how easy it is to get charged for things you've already played or remakes and remasters, collections, all that stuff. And like I said, I got Jack and Daxter right here, like guilty as charged. But like I said, keep an eye on these PSP games, man. I think they're going to go up. And so they're pretty cheap right now. I think the most you'll probably spend, off the top of my head, I think of Persona 1 and 2 on PSP, Persona 3 on PSP, Valkyrie Profile may run you a little bit of money, but nothing as astronomical as what the Vita is building up to be. So get ahead of the game if you're a PSP owner. Prepare yourselves a little bit. I don't think it'll be as bad because the Vita storefront will exist for some time, and so you can download a lot of PSP games and play them on your Vita. But anyway, getting off track here, just want to go ahead and share the news. Thank you, PlayStation, for listening to the fans. This is excellent to see. And so now we can go ahead and enjoy our older consoles without much of a worry. But keep in mind, stuff for the future. With that, I pass it off to you. What do you make of all of this news? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.